And we're live. Good morning again, everybody, and welcome back. Today is just flying along. I can't believe it's already time for our next presenter that is part of the Inner Alchemy Mystery School faculty presentation called Practical Magic, a celebration of magic and mystery. And so I'm really excited to have all of you here. Our next class will begin in about a minute. So that gives you a chance to grab a cup of coffee, do anything else you need to do so that you can participate, because these are live and interactive broadcasts. So please feel free to ask questions and comment. And you can actually start out right now by leaving a comment and telling us where you're watching from. And that will be really helpful. Even if you did it in the first broadcast, this is a new presentation and will let us know where folks are watching from around the world. We're so excited about this lineup that we have, and be sure, as I said in the first presentation, to stick around until the end of the day today. We're going to be going from started at 11 o'clock Eastern time until 6:30 tonight, because there will be two major prize drawings where we're going to randomly draw the name of somebody who's in our private Facebook group watching these broadcasts. The grand prize is worth over $900. The second prize is worth over $700. And so you'll want to stick around until the end for that. I see people starting to pop up in the show. Our next presenter is one of my three favorite Appalachian practitioners in the world, an extended family member for me, and one of my favorite people in general. Adam Darkley is the owner and curator of the Devil's Conjure. And his class is about the magical transformation, talking about how to embrace yourself as the holy vessel for your deepest desires. So we'll get started with that in just a minute. I suck at chewing gum and walking at the same time. So if you give me a second here, I'll get myself out of the way and get our intro up and running in 1 second.
Hi, folks. This is Adam Darkley. Thank you for joining us for today. Thank you for joining me for my presentation on the magical transformation. A little bit about me. I've been working some form of magic for at least willfully for about a decade in various forms of magic, folk healing, folk magic, hoodoo and conjure. So I also work planetary magic, so it's kind of a big mixed bag. But today we're going to be talking basically about the magical transformation. So this is really important to me because this is something that I've taught students before. This is a big part of my own personal path and work. And so what I mean by the magical transformation is quite literally, have you ever performed magic, maybe for money, maybe for love, and maybe you got what you want, maybe you didn't, but you realize that basically that the magic didn't last, that it didn't maintain. Maybe you did a magic, specific ritual to draw fast money. Maybe the money flowed quickly when you needed it, but things kind of like slowed, tapered off. And that things, when you perform that ritual, or when you went to a certain worker to have a ritual performed, that it didn't automatically fix your life. And so this is something that's really important to me, that I feel like everyone should know, whether you work in Wicca or whether you work in ceremonial magic or beyond. And so there are about 4 basic key things that I want to touch on, and I'm trying to keep it as brief as I possibly can. But as I said before, this is basically going to be like a 101, like an introduction. It's going to be like very foundational for the new series of classes, the new modules through Inner Alchemy that I'm going to be offering. And so the first part is basically becoming the vessel for our desires, the things that we really desire in life, that we want. So a lot of people have certain desires that we want, things that we want in our life, but maybe it's money, maybe it's love, but our lives basically aren't on the right vibration. Maybe we're not in the right place. And I find a lot of the reasons why is because we have certain issues, things that we either need to heal, personal baggage that we need to deal with, and otherwise. So, basically everyone wants love, but are you personally in a healthy place to love or to be loved? Everybody wants money, but are you in a healthy place to basically cultivate wealth, to manage wealth? all of these kind of things are things that I'm going to touch on in my class today. So as I said, the first part is basically becoming the vessel for our desires that we want, so that we can be filled up with the things that we desire most in life, that we're seeking to manifest through our spiritual practices and otherwise. So basically, a big part of this is when we transform our lives to be in line with what we seek to manifest, we transform ourselves to be the kind of person who can be the vessel for what we seek. We find things more so move in our favor. So it's like I was saying before, basically, if you perform magic, if you went to a worker, if you've had magic perform on your behalf, maybe things worked in your favor, but things, your money stopped, you started to flow slowly, or you got a ritual for love, but things didn't work out. And I feel like it's really because in life, one of the most basic things are the stories around what we believe, the ways that we believe that the world, interacts with us, what we believe we deserve, our fears and our doubts. And so, a lot of our world, the mythos and everything that, in cultures, different spiritual practices, different religions, the story, the mythos is one of the most basic parts of our lives, of our world. And so basically it's like what you believe, that you deserve, what you believe that is possible for you is going to be sort of the underlying story for your life, for what the universe is creating and providing for you. And so when you have certain fears and doubts and regrets, things, feeling, those fears, those doubts, or those regrets, they're like a dagger in the side of our heart, of our ambitions. So, basically the story that you believe around your life, depending on like the magical tradition or path that you might follow or otherwise, is going to be basically, what we're being provided for. That's the vessel that we're creating for our lives. So if you believe that if you grew up, poor or impoverished, and you believe that that's kind of like what you were born to be, if you feel like, that you have only seen struggle and you've only seen strife and money, you've had a hard time basically receiving money, on multiple levels, you can basically, heal, you can perform ritual magic to try to change those things. But it's really going to be the foundational story that you believe around, as I said, what you believe that you deserve, what you believe, if you feel it's sort of like a predator and prey world, kind of a survival of the fittest. A lot of those stories I find in our culture are really unhealthy, and some of them really aren't true, but they're things that we've basically been given to keep us in subservient places, to keep us in our place. And so, as I was saying, one of the most important things when you're basically, in this magical transformation, it's essentially alchemy, and through alchemy, things take time whether you're actually doing an alchemical, transformation of merging or bringing, in alchemy, basically bringing a certain element through into a more exalted place. These things take time, just as healing, whether you, work in energy healing or you work in magic or otherwise. And so we're literally having to change the story around what we believe, or we perceive the world to interact with us, what we believe we deserve. And this can basically be done by working with spirits, by working forms of magic or otherwise. So basically, how do we make these changes? How do we transform? How do we transform our lives? This can happen in any way, in many ways. So one of the easiest ways that I've learned is through the intercession of spirits, through sympathetic magic, healing with plant medicines, and direct work with spirits, with deities, with ancestors. And so what I mean when I'm talking about the intercession of spirits, how can spirits, help us change our lives? I thought spirits, some people might say, I thought a spirit, was just a being that I went with for this help, or maybe I'm Catholic, or I'm in this belief system, and I don't really believe that. Well, I'll be honest, like in my work, I work as a source work for clients all over the world, and I've kind of seen it all. And I find that a lot of times clients will want a ritual for love or money or otherwise, but when they see the success of that ritual, but they don't see that it fixes their life, they felt like that one thing, if they just changed that one thing, that it would somehow magically fix their entire life. But the truth is that we have to change ourselves on every level, no matter your beliefs or otherwise, no matter the approach. You have to quite literally shift and heal and change yourself, your beliefs and things on a sort of mental, spiritual, bodily level. And so some of the ways that we can do that, interceding with spirits, are certain spirits like Hermes, certain spirit, he's basically a spirit of wisdom, of vision, like Ganesha, spirits of wisdom that can like destroy obstacles, that can basically help us heal ourselves on so many different levels. And then of course like sympathetic magic. And so what do I mean by sympathetic magic? So people who might work in folk magic or hoodoo, sympathetic magic is basically a ritual act that you perform to get a desired effect. So like a love binding, you might take two images of two people, baptize them by their name using like a photo, engraving them, and then binding them together in some ritual act. Quite literally, it's like what you're doing as you're seeing it, you're believing that this thing is coming to be. And so when I'm talking about basically the story of the world, as you can see in every different culture and every different religion, there is an underlying story, there is a mythos that is sort of feeding and infusing and giving life basically to the situation, the person, the world. And so as I said, it's the stories that we believe, what we believe we deserve, or what we believe we don't deserve, or how the world affects or interacts with us. And so we can actually utilize sympathetic magic even in situations of healing, or trying to remove the evil eye or otherwise, as well as healing with plant medicines. And so, on whatever level, whatever your beliefs may be, each plant has a spirit connected to it, and that spirit takes many forms. But just as a plant can heal our bodies, plants can also heal our minds. They can heal our spirits. And to me, plants, they're kind of, I see them as like little witches and wizards of a sort, like little gods, and essentially. And so plant medicines, plant spirits, they have the power to not only heal our wounds physically, they can heal us in our mind and our heart and in our spirit, maybe from heartbreak, maybe from, trauma, PTSD of the past. And it's all of these things, all of these wounds, things that we were, maybe we grew up in a certain religion, and we were told this is how things were, to live in fear, to live in doubt. Maybe, the stories that we were told as a child around, what we feel like we deserve, or that we're bad, or people, maybe you grew up in an impoverished family, and you kind of look down on people who have money or are in a better position right then and there. That's one way that you can essentially end up hindering yourself. It's what you believe. So, see. Alexis Kennedy said, do you have a list of correspondence for these plant spirits and how to work with them? So really, that's one of those things that I will talk about in the future, but honestly, there are like so many millions of plants that could be listed. Some that I might recommend, just generally, it would probably be too broad just for this, but some plants that have really kind of helped heal me and in my life, and then help me in different ways, would be like chamomile, for your nerves, for your mind, for your body, but it also is medicine for your soul. And what I even mean by working with plant spirits is quite literally cultivating a relationship with a certain plant spirit. Maybe in your area, maybe it's connected to your family, maybe it's just a plant that you're drawn to, but actually having certain practices where you can coming into like an embodied healthy relationship with a plant, where you're either receiving visions, or maybe you imbibe with certain entheogens, or maybe you have a trance sort of practice, or you're using drums and rattles to go into an ecstatic state to meet with that spirit. Or even if it's you bring that, you plant that spirit in a pot, or you bring that plant into your home and you speak with it and create that kind of connection, and actually do magic, like adding them to potentially like a candle, certain ritual to call upon their aid. But yeah, sorry about that, Alexis. The plant correspondence is just too much to go into now. But as I was saying, sympathetic magic, intercession of spirits, which is basically calling upon, praying to certain spirits, saints, healing with plant medicines. And the fourth way is basically direct work with spirits, deities, and ancestors. So as I was saying, there are, we might perform a certain form of magic like fast money to just draw money, or we might perform a certain ritual to heal our connections with the person that we're in a relationship with. Maybe you have some really shaky communication. But to me, it's not just that one ritual that you want to perform. You want to transform your entire life, yourself, your beliefs, how you view the world, even your spiritual practices. You want to entirely shift things to where some people might say raising your vibration, but to me, it's the actual story. You want to change your entire life. And I'm about to go into basically a few ways that one might do that. Just bear with me. I have a lot of notes. Also guided meditations are one way, and I'm going to talk further about that as well as shamanic journeying and energy healing. But it's really the story behind it all. No matter the ritual or the ceremony or what you perform, it's the story behind what you believe. Whether you, like I said, you were born in a certain religion or you were raised in a certain way to be conservative or to believe you deserve this thing, it's the story behind that, and that's what we really want to change to have a true transformation. And as I said before, myths and stories, they're the fabric of our universe. And so, do you see what important roles myths play in religions and spiritual paths? Every religion, every spiritual path, every culture, we have mythos. We have the story behind the creation of the world and gods and spirits and our place in that. But it is really my belief that we are divine. We're the God up there, and we're the man or a person or woman or however we identify down here, and that's okay. And that's one thing, going into magic, going through these transformations, working this kind of magic and this kind of path, is to realize that it's okay to be divine and man. It's okay to be God and the devil. But basically, our own lives, what we identify with, our names, our religions. These are our stories that we're identifying with. How we see and view our world and ourselves and our beliefs. But basically, when you see that everything has a story, whether it's your religion, whether it's your name, whether, whatever it might be, when you understand that there's a story behind everything, you realize that is how it can be changed. And so we change the story in many ways in different cultures. Some cultures may perform a ceremony, like a name changing. I know in Jewish tradition and other traditions worldwide, some people it might be a form of initiation, it might be a journey or otherwise, but there are many cultures that, like I said, for example, they'll do a name change. And so, and it's really more than, as a child is becoming a man, that's a whole other thing. And what I'm talking about is basically like a form of healing, where you're taking on a new name, you're taking on a new identity, a new self. And it's kind of along the same lines as the sand paintings that is done in Mexico by different healers and folk workers. But this is one of my secrets. This is something that I've worked on. This is something I'll probably be working on for the rest of my life, but this is like a true secret that I've learned from a few mentors things have been shared over the years by certain spirits or deities that I work with. But the secret is to decide who you want to be. If you have an idealized self, because everyone wants a little more money, everyone wants this thing, but that's not enough. That doesn't fix our lives. That doesn't help us prosper. So one of my biggest recommendations to you is to sit down with yourself, whether you journal, whether you draw or otherwise, sit down, think of all the qualities, your most exalted, your most blessed life. Think of yourself in the most exalted form, where you're just blessed and you have more than enough money and your love life's great and you're healthy and happy, but build this mental image. Even now you can sit with me and just close your eyes and you can see yourself, and then right next to you can see yourself happy and healthy and vibrant, and money is just raining upon you, and that business that may have fallen short, or that dream or that goal that you always wanted to attain, see yourself attaining that. If you want to be a king or queen, if you want to be royalty, if you want to be lavished and enjoy riches and wealth and pleasure, see that most idealized, exalted self, the perfected self, see your, in whatever form. And so you get to decide. One thing I will say once again with names, is you can give yourself a new name, and this isn't like you're cutting off or lopping off your old self or old life, but this is it's a form of magic basically in this way. But you decide who you want to be, you take all of the best qualities of this person. You can even ask a certain spirit or God that you work with, for a sort of divine name of yourself that is connected to this self that you want to be, or to your own power, your own divinity, or you can create your own in whatever way. And so imagine what this person looks like. Now feel out to how you feel being this person. Feel how it feels to be fulfilled. Embrace the emotions. And so emotions play such a powerful role in magic. Whether you're hexing and cursing someone and you're just filling up to the brim with just malice and you're about to send off the flying monkeys or whatever, but emotion plays an important role. So as you sit, as you see this perfected, healed, mighty, rich, wealthy, healthy form, whatever this looks like for you, sit with it, embrace it. Let yourself feel what it likes to have money. Let yourself feel what it feels like to be successful, or whatever this person looks like, whatever your desires are, and just sit and let those feelings flow. Let them fill up your belly and your heart, and just be filled up, feel overjoyed with it. And that feeling, those emotions, that's something that you can now that you know what that looks like, who you look like, and that exalted form, what those emotions feel like, then you can take that and then you can perform magic. You take this name, you take this story, you take this new avatar, this image of yourself, you take these feelings and you do magic with a focus of transforming yourself into this image. Because as I said before, it's not enough to, in an emergency situation, to do magic on the fly, to just draw in money. Oh, I got to pay this bill, so I'm going to draw in just this little bit of money, because that doesn't fix the issue. And that's the whole goal of the magical transformation, to shift ourselves into a person who is the vessel of our desires, for our desires. And so to shift the story, to shift ourselves. And so, as I said, you take these feelings, you do magic with the focus of transforming into this self, into this image, into this idealized self. You claim that name or title or role. You embrace being king or rich or respected, whatever your desires are, whatever this self looks like. And then you do magic to achieve your goals. You speak with authority when you do magic. You speak as that person, as that name, with authority, with power. Let's see. And as your desired self. And then this is one thing too, it will take time. This is one of the many ways that you can transform yourself in your life. As you claim and embrace yourself, the universe basically moves in line with the new story. And so the story that you believe now, maybe somebody's struggling with money, maybe you're struggling with health, that is not you. That is one identity of many, and especially if you believe in past lives, if you believe that you are, connected or are the divine, or we're all sharing a divine experience and we just happen to be down here having a human experience. It is the story behind what you believe is what you basically get. And like I said, you're already a vessel. You're already being filled up with the things that you identify with sexually, politically, religiously, the stories that your parents told you. Oh, you better be careful when you're older, you're gonna, your vision or this thing or this thing. Those are all things you were given as a child. Those are things you can let go of now. You can cleanse from your life. And I'm about to talk about a few of these ways that you can basically do that. But it's just one of those things you have to break it down a little bit first. But basically the universe moves in line with your new story. And so this new story, this new self, this perfected, exalted self, that's just all of the makings of your happiest, healthiest, wealthiest self. The universe moves in line with the new story, what you identify with. And so one way that we can create changes, through ritual and otherwise, is through creating mojo hands or charms to attune or tether to a specific planetary power, a specific spirit or God, to aid us in achieving or manifesting our goals. And so one way, I work in hoodoo, planetary magic, all kinds of fun stuff. But one way in hoodoo and folk magic and root work that I help clients every day, things that I offer, but that I have helped myself with, is creating a mojo hand. And so a mojo hand, people might say it's connected to voodoo and it's a gree-gree or this thing or that thing. Mojo hands are actually connected to Nkisi, which are African nail statues, which basically were Nkisi is many spirits connected to a statue. Minkisi is a statue typically, or a form or an effigy that is connected to one spirit. But that's where that comes from. And essentially a mojo hand is a contained spell. It's a contained ritual. People might use 3 or 5 or 7 or 9 different ingredients, roots, minerals, dirts. But basically the mojo hand is a charm bag that is fed typically the same day every week. Maybe use the same prayer, maybe you work with the same spirit, but these things are basically like a magical battery that they grow in power and they help us manifest things in our life. And you can also, make a planetary charm. These are things that you can learn in my future classes and courses with this as well. But we also perform rituals. So one way, that I've helped clients to kind of shift their life and their story through hoodoo is certain rituals. The cut and clear ritual basically can help us separate connections between people, places, and things, past relationships, poverty. A blockbuster ritual, which can quite literally, say, you've had work done against you by an enemy. Maybe you did some magic and it went awry. You can do blockbuster and road open and cut clear rituals to kind of clear the bullshit away, to open things up. And of course, these things don't fully change the story, but they help get things moving. They help, any kind of energetic blockages or things like that. They help to kind of blow through those so that this new story, the new identity, the new, what we're trying to manifest, it's almost like knocking down barrier after barrier. And this is, of course, why I said it takes time, but somebody mentioned some spirits or beings that could be worked with. Typically those that I would recommend, one of my biggest allies for reweaving my story, for reweaving my identity and my life, is Grandmother Spider Woman, or Spider. Spider is known, or Grandmother Spider Woman is known to be the weaver of our world, of our cosmos, of our reality. And so she can help us, she can help you not only heal from PTSD or trauma or abuse or whatever. She can help us shift our story and change it. And as you work with Spider, as you sit, as you call upon, as you drum, as you chant, or whatever ritual or practice that you have, you can work with Grandmother Spider Woman, call upon her, do guided meditations, do a shamanic journey, go to her, let her guide you. And the power is already in you. You're already divine. So all these gods and powers and spirits that you're calling to, they're interceding on your behalf, but it's essentially you. Depending on what you believe or not, that's my belief. That's what works for me. So like I said, you can call upon Grandmother Spider Woman. She will guide you on basically restructuring your world. And as I said, it's the story, it's your identity. So if you identify as somebody that's impoverished, if you identify as somebody that you're just bad luck, everything that you do, you're just expecting, it's the story, it's the expectations. That is what has to change. And so you can work with Grandmother Spider Woman. You can work with High John the Conqueror, like we work with in hoodoo and conjure, to help you claim your power, help you claim, and revolutionize your life on every level. And so, as I was saying, the magical transformation, it's literally embodying and embracing a new identity. You're not cutting off a leg. You're not changing your, you don't have to, this self that you identify with, you're not throwing it away. You are identifying in a new way with an exalted self, with a most blessed self. And so, imagine, like I said, this form of you that has it all, basically. Embrace how it feels. And then every time you do magic, whether you're working with Grandmother Spider Woman or Hermes or Ganesha or High John, whether you're doing candle magic, it's all part of it, and it's all building blocks. But the important part is seeing this most perfected self. It's already you, it's already happened. And so that's the best framework too, is just to be like, I am this person. It's like, I am Adam Darkly, I am victorious, I am crowned in gold, and I have all these many things or wants or desires, but you bring it all together. You embrace that emotion. You go to the spirits, you drum, you go to the altar, burn your candles, whatever it is. But the key there is embracing how it feels to be that you. Embracing, and constantly, every day you wake up and you're like, this is me. I identify with this. I am so successful that it's scary. But you basically embrace that, you embody that, and then you take that to the altar, you take that to the spirits, and that's one of many ways. But like I said, it's this is the 101 for this class. So you'll have to follow the next modules and course to see the rest. So thank you for watching, and I hope you learned a lot, and I look forward to teaching you more in the future. So,
and thanks you folks so much. This has been another incredible class. I'm sure that I could speak for everybody in saying that there there was so much information in such a short amount of time. Maybe when we do this again next quarter, we'll be able to maybe break this up over 2 days so that everybody gets a full hour. And because I'm sure you left everybody hungry, wanting for more. Let's take a quick look at the just some of the comments, the many comments that are coming in from folks like Alexis and Eric, from folks like Sabrina Werner, and Laura, and just so many people commenting. So I want to thank you. We are unfortunately having to jump into preparation for our next session. Just one last comment, Alexis, I think that speaks for all of us when she says, "Thank you so much. I'm a learning and development professional. This was well done." Well, maybe we're not all learning and development professionals, but I think that was an amazing presentation. Kelly says, I needed that reminder. I already have the power and the connections. I think that was great. And for everybody who's watching, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and drop a comment even after the broadcast ends, letting us know what your biggest takeaway was from Adam's presentation. So thank you, Adam. We will see you at the Inner Alchemy Mystery School. Everybody else, we'll see you our next presentations at 12:45 Eastern Time. And so we'll look forward to seeing you in just a few minutes. And now just a quick outro and message about the Inner Alchemy Mystery School. Take care, everybody.